Somebody? Friday, the second Friday of January is a holiday. It's called Quitter's Day. And that's because most people have quit their New Year's resolutions by the second Friday of January. And Quitter's Day is not a negative thing. It's actually something that people gather together to support one another and say, you know, it's really okay because most of us have quit anyway. So Quitter's Day is past, but I'm going to invite you to quit your stinking thinking. Quit your stinking thinking because, you know, resolutions are valuable and a lot of people do them, and most people want to be healthier, so they make resolutions that, you know, I'm going to lose 16 pounds, or I'm going to quit smoking or drinking, or I'm going to exercise more. Most of them have to do with the body. Some people have other resolutions. One lady told her husband, I'm going to be kinder to people this year. So if you'll just shut your trap and stay out of my face. My neighbor's dog made a resolution. He said, well, I resolve this year I'm going to allow my human to have at least 10% of the bed. And from now on, I will only bark at actual threats, like that pesky squirrel or the Amazon delivery guy. Or, you know, I'm not going to bark at the wind anymore unless something smells suspicious. When we make New Year's resolutions, they're usually based on the fallacy that our motivation is enough to make it happen. And like I said, that's a fallacy. Because most of the time, we give up, we quit. And here we are, we told everybody, and I'm going to do this year, I'm going to lose 16 pounds, I'm going to quit drinking, I'm going to quit beating my wife. And, you know, before you know it, there we are again, and we're embarrassed, and we feel like a failure. So I want to talk about some of the ways, some of the reasons that we quit. Well, first of all, we wish we could do something, but we don't really believe it. You know, I don't really believe I can lose 16 pounds this year. I don't really believe I can quit smoking or drinking or whatever I've committed to do. I don't believe it. I've got stinking thinking here going on, and it's just wishful thinking. I know that it would be good for me, but I need to ask myself, what is it I really want? And first, you know, maybe God has a better plan. Maybe I shouldn't just say, well, I'm going to lose 16 pounds. Maybe I need to say, what is it I really want? Why in the world would 16 pounds mean anything? What I really want is health. What I really want is more energy. What I really want is I want to look better. Well, maybe God has a better idea. Maybe God wants me to lose 30 pounds. Or maybe only 5. Or maybe I don't need to lose any weight. Maybe I need to just live a healthier life. Maybe God has a better plan. What if I let God decide and guide me? What if I go there? Seriously. Somebody said, well, if at first you don't succeed, well, so much for skydiving. Maybe even though I try to tell God what it is that I ought to have, what I ought to be able to do, Maybe God has a better idea. Many years ago, I was unemployed for a whole year. And that's just a horrible place to be because you just feel so lost. You feel so unimportant. You feel broke. You know, you feel like God's let you down. Like, how come I can't find a good job? I just knew I was qualified. I had the experience. I had the education. Somebody's going to want me to do the work in my field. And a year went by. It didn't happen. And that's when I discovered New Thought. And I started taking classes and I learned, hey, wait a minute, maybe my thinking is stinking here and I need to change. Maybe I need to turn it over to a higher source. Maybe there's a better plan. Maybe it's just not about me working in the field that I think is right for me. And what do you know? I got divine guidance not to look for a job, but to start a business. I never thought of that before. Here I am. I'm a woman, and women don't do things like that, and especially back in the dark ages when I was there doing that. Start a business. And that business became successful, and I made money, and I had a good time. God had a better plan for me. And as you set resolutions or your goals for the year, think about it. Is this the best plan? Turn it over to your source, your creator. Maybe God has a better plan for you. Trust divine wisdom. Well, another thing that happens is we have fear of failure. Oh my gosh. What if I fail? What if I tell everybody I'm going to lose 16 pounds and they see me eating a donut and I've gained weight? You know, it's embarrassing and I don't want to be a failure. What if I start a business and I lose money? Well, what if I can't do the job that I've been hired to do? What if? What if I fail? That so scares me that maybe I don't even want to start what I've intended to do. It's been said that anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Einstein said that. Did you know that Einstein was thought to be mentally handicapped when he was in school? Edison. When Edison was a little kid in school, they sent him home. His mother had to teach him because they said he was dumb, not smart enough to learn. Edison. And I'm sure you've heard Edison said, I've had 10,000 failures in my experiments when I was trying to develop the light bulb. But each time one of his experiments failed, it just told him one more way it didn't work so he could move on to the next way. Walt Disney was afraid of mice. Did you know that? No. But we have Mickey. Walt Disney was once fired because they said he was not creative. That was a failure. What if he just said, oh, well, I'm not creative. I might as well just try to get a job in a factory. Elvis Presley. Do you know that he failed his music class? Well, he wanted to sing, so he did line up a gig. After one gig, he was fired. They said, the owner of the place said, you ain't going nowhere, son. You ought to go back to driving a truck. What is failure? Failure is just a word. And it just means that, it's a lesson that, that's not going to work, but I'll do something different, better. And you heard of the great actor Laurence Olivier, who was supposedly one of the greatest actors of the 20th century. The first time he went on stage, he tripped over the threshold and fell headfirst into the floodlights. Did he quit? No. No matter what happens, no matter what you might think is a failure, God has new plans for you. A new beginning, a new idea of what can be even better. The Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. No matter what happens in your life. We never fail. We never fail until we quit. The only thing to quit is our stinking thinking. Okay, third reason. Now this is a really big one. Our goals and our New Year's resolutions often fail because we think we have to rely on our willpower. I can do this. I can do this. I'm smart enough. I have the willpower that I can give up chocolate and therefore lose 16 pounds. But just put a dish of chocolate candies out in front of me, and what am I going to do? Because my willpower fails me then. It's not about willpower. It's not about thinking I have to do it all myself. Some time ago, I told you a story about a father and son who went out for a walk in the woods, and they came across a big rock that was in the middle of the path. And the little boy wanted to move it out of the way, and he tried to pick it up or move it somehow, and he didn't succeed. His dad said, well, just use all your resources to figure out how to move that rock. So he found a big stick, and he tried to use a stick to leverage it and move it out of the way, and he didn't succeed. He said, Daddy, I can't. I failed. And Dad said, no, you didn't use all your resources. You did not ask me for help. See, that's what we do. We think God's not going to help us. God is too busy, and not only that, God doesn't care. And not only that, I know better than God what I need to do to solve this problem. I can do it all by myself. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. We need to trust. We need to trust. We need to turn it over and say, okay, I have these goals, and I can go inside and I can say, okay, I want to be healthy, I want to be whole, I want to be complete, I want to be prosperous, and all of that. It's time to partner with our source. It's time to do more than that. It's time to deeply know that we were created a spirit, whole, perfect, and complete, and not to be separate, not to think that there's some old codger in the sky that decides that Karen gets all the goodies in life because she's a good girl. But I'm not worthy. No. I am one. God created me. I am one with my source. All of me is God, is spirit, and I have the power within me to create only because I have the divine, I have God within me. I have God as part of me. I don't walk alone. It's about surrender. I really love the first 3 steps of a 12-step program. We admit that we're powerless over conditions. I can be powerless over chocolate and glazed donuts. Second one, I believe that there's a power greater than myself that can restore me. There's a power greater than chocolate or alcohol or cigarettes or anything else that keeps me from my good. And I decide to turn my will and my life over to the care of God, however I understand God to be. I love those three. Good way to live our lives. It's about surrender. Surrender to my highest good. Surrender, oh my gosh, that's a scary word because surrender makes it sound like we've lost. We're giving up something important. We're giving up ourselves. Oh my gosh. That's scary, isn't it? But I want to invite you to look at a different way of the word surrender. Think of a raindrop. The raindrop surrenders itself to the ocean. And when it surrenders to the ocean, it becomes part of the enormous power of the waves. That the waves are so powerful that they change the coastline. They have the power to destroy houses, to create more beautiful sandy beaches. The wave is symbolic of God. If I'm like that raindrop, if I surrender to God, to totally and know that I am all of me is God. That God is what gives me the power, the resources. That's powerful. That means that I can create miracles because I have the power of the divine within me. Every morning before I get up, I say, I surrender to the love, wisdom, and power of God. It's not giving up anything. I am merging with the love of God. And by having the love of God as who I am, I'm guided to go forth and have wonderful experiences with other people. And I know the love of God supports me in everything I need to do to have a healthy body. I surrender to the wisdom. Oh my goodness, to know that the wisdom of God is operating through my brain, guides me, tells me what to eat, when to exercise, what to say, what to do, how to live a prosperous life. I embody the wisdom of God because I've yielded to that. I'm one with it. And the power, I surrender to the power of God that operates through and as me. I have the power of the strength that it takes to succeed in life. That power of God leads me. The wisdom guides me. And the love comforts and supports me. It's like, wow, how could I ask for anything less than being one with the love, wisdom, and power of God? It's yours too, you know. Not giving up anything to be one with God. It's God within you that allows you to do anything, to create miracles in your life. You can have a life that you can truly love. Trust. Go back to that Proverbs. Trust God from the bottom of your heart. Don't try to figure out everything on your own. Listen for God's voice in everything you do, everywhere you go. God will keep you on track. So it is. You can have the life you truly love. So let's go inside right now for a little time of meditation as we allow ourselves to consider, surrender. We're merging this wonderful, loving power, wonderful wisdom, wonderful life, the life that's never separate. God loves you so much that God created you to have a life you can truly love, a life of joy and health and wholeness, sweetness, of abundance, of joy. So let's just spend a few moments of just feeling our connection and giving up any thoughts that we must do it on our own, because we're never alone. We never need to quit. We just surrender. I surrender to love, wisdom, and power of my Creator and Source. And I know I'm never separate